I love this deck. This deck was built to be resilient, and it was also built to finish games quick. Primarily, well, I mean, as you can tell, the Reanimator Kenrith. I built him because I thought that I could make the best Reanimator commander out of him. Seemed really good, and then despite the changes to the ban list and everything else, I still think he's really good. So let's take a look at some of the creatures that go with it. So, Angel of Runes. This card is pivotal because it allows you to put an interaction piece in the graveyard, and also it allows you to plain cycle to fix your mana. Huge. Fills the yard, exactly what a Reanimator wants to do, and puts an interaction piece in there that can slow everybody else down and fixes mana. 3 things. Huge. Malboro. Super underrated card. Consistently can be reflashed back or blinked to hand disrupt to allow you to pivot into like kind of like a mid-range reanimator if needed. Really good. And again, cycles. Huge. Composite Golem. This card in itself is a win con. Just because if you have any type of reducer, you summon Composite Golem or resurrect him, sacrifice him, add Wooburg, bring him back. So huge to make infinite combo and hard to interact with. A really, really good piece. Archon of Cruelty, kind of goes without saying. He's just kind of in here because, I mean, it's disruption, interaction, a flying creature, 6/6, and draws cards. Like, chief reanimation target, like really, really good. Atali, this dude's a nightmare. That's it. If you know, you know. Atraxa, again, can help you sculpt the perfect hand, and then also, what else does it do? It's going to guarantee that you have so many cards in hand that you're going to be able to further fuel your discard. So you never have to worry about filling the yard. Kind of the same thing with Sphinx. Putting this in the graveyard early can easily GG the whole table and kind of set the whole game up. And then Emil, there's a reason why it says GG. I mean, this card is insane, especially in this deck. So we can see these are kind of like our big creatures that we want to go with, but it's all kind of synergistic in that regard. And then we're going to look at other creatures that either enable mana or they fuel treasure strategy. Something in the sleeve. So Lock should be unblockable by creatures that are higher power and can produce treasures. Mana Dork. Fabro Elder, just making big mana. In this specific Kenrith build, this can be used to make infinite mana as well, so it's another option. This is another, like, wanted criminal in the deck. Ragavan is insane. And fixing your mana via treasures if needed. And ramping. PFB. Yeah, I don't need to speak more on this. Just another way to let our other creatures that are in the deck connect to make treasures. Bloom Tender. Another way to make big mana. And needless to say, Bob. So now we're going to look at like specific engines as to why this deck is so resilient. So we have Mystic Remora. I mean, kind of goes without saying. Esper Sentinel. Esper Sentinel is huge. Especially because Kenrith can +1/+1 it. Something that's some people don't remember. Lotho. consistent tokens, or treasure tokens again. Taro. Again, once this guy comes down, he's going to produce tokens. Seaborn Muse, I think, is super, super, like, critical for this Kenrith, especially, like, mid-range Reanimator. Just because the threat of this hitting the table can literally stall the game out and draw it out, and the longer the game goes on, the higher the probability that the Kenrith deck will pull ahead. And, of course, Smothering Tithe. And then you might be wondering, like, why Ristic Study is not in here. And it's because this is a tuned down version that was asked. He was asked me to tune it down a little bit for the brackets that we're playing at bracket 3. Kind of mentioned this prior. Man, I love this deck. Kind of mentioned this prior about the reducers. Each of these are pivotal. If we elect to go that route with reducing the cost of Kenrith to flash a meal to flash creatures in. So each of these are really, really important and good, all serving a purpose. Now, one thing we can get into too is the actual reanimation package for Kenrith. This is kind of important because we can't rely on him alone, right? Can't rely on him alone. He's a target. People know what he can do. So he's going to get removed. So the pivotal thing is to be able to reanimate without having to rely on him. That's where it gets scary. So Necromancy, super, super good. Dance of the Dead, Animate Dead, Shallow Grave, Exhume, Unburial Rites. A lot of people kind of push off this card or write it off, but because it has flashback, it's nuts. Classic Reanimate. Life and Death, really, really good one. Catches people off guard. And same thing with Priest of Felorites. Priest of Felorites can actually be super intimidating, especially because you can give it haste via Kenrith. So this card, again, is part of that whole resiliency that I was speaking about what makes my Kenrith deck a bit different, and kind of a testament to how resilient and how strong it is, or he is as a commander. Okay, now we're getting into like the flex pieces or the glue pieces of the deck. Like Saw in Half, this can enable nutty things to happen. If you need more interaction, if you need to get additional things from the graveyard, right? Like you can Saw in Half Eternal Witness, for example. Saw in Half is the glue piece that generally never sits in hand for too long. So it's always something that you have or draw into, and then you'll have a purpose for it sooner rather than later. Eternal Witness, absolutely crucial to getting things back. Crazy, crazy good card in this list. And the same thing with Sivian's Reclamation. Another piece of resiliency for this deck, just to make it always seem like it's always online. We still need to have traditional kind of ramp. So we have Tithe. I think this is an underrated reserveless card that can actually fix mana too. Nature's Lore, kind of classic. 3 visits. And we're only running 2 rocks in this deck because we have so many mana dorks via creatures. So that's kind of when we went with more traditional ramp, but as you've seen, there's tons of treasure-producing creatures in this deck. And so now, you might be saying, like, okay, this is cool, like, I see the creatures, I see where you're going with this, but how do we actually fill the yard? And this is where this deck really shines, is because of how much work that has been put into it. It kind of feels like it operates a little bit closer to a very consistent deck. I don't even want to say 60 card format, but it feels really well tuned. So the way this happens is we have a plethora of things that fill the yard, or can fill the yard, or allow us to keep digging and digging and digging. And you're going to kind of notice that there's a lot of synergistic pieces that are going on here with this deck. So number 1 is our Surveils. Right, hitting these early, crucial to setting up things in the yard. Just potentially getting one thing in the yard, a Sphinx, for instance, this can completely put things in our favor from 0 to 100. So we got our surveils. Then we have Faithless Looting. Faithless Looting goes without saying. It's crucial. Putting things in the graveyard. Entomb, again, amazing. Frantic Search, such a good card. 3, untap 3, draw 2, discard 2. More filling the yard. Another card that I don't really see too many lists running for Kenrith Reanimation is Faithful Mending. I think this card is super, super good, just again because we have the flashback cost. So another way to just make sure we bin something early. Careful Study, again, just 1 mana, draw 2, discard 2. Super good for filling the yard. Buried Alive. Not much else can be said about this. And then these creatures are kind of synergistic in that they work with PFB. They're creatures that can easily kind of connect and produce treasures, but they also facilitate discard outlets. And this is where what I was saying about how the synergies for this deck are kind of nuts. So Pilfer can discard, and yeah, it can connect early to produce treasures. Norman Osborne, I think this card is going to kind of go up, or it's going to have different kind of play patterns that are going to emerge, just because, again, he can't be blocked, so he's guaranteed connector, and when he connects, draw 1, discard. Ledger Shredder, he's good enough to, honestly, he could have been incorporated with the engine pile, but you see just how much everything synergizes together here. But again, flying, and so it's draw engine, also draw and discard, but also he can connect because of flying. And then we have Psychic Frog. I don't need to say a lot about this one. This card is nuts. Okay. So those are some of our ways to bin our creatures. And then kind of going back again, we have ways, and we have creatures that want to bin themselves too. So if we're ever really needing something in the beginning or early to bin very quickly, we can bin these and then reanimate them. If we need to stall the game out, if we don't have any other threats, or if we've been heavily interacted with. Now, we're going to get into a little bit more of the interaction, because my play group, we run a ton of interaction. So we're going to see a little bit. We're going to see some land interaction. Lightning Greaves is good. People would be kind of wanting to remove it, but with Fabro Elder, you can actually use this as another means to produce infinite mana. So Fabro Elder is pretty good. Swan Song. Silence. This is the money card in this deck. Silencing out everybody and pushing for a win. Either A, they're going to interact with you, or you're going to win. That's just how it works. Such a good card. An offer you can't refuse. This is really good, and sometimes I even counter my own spell, just purely to get the treasures to ramp further or to fix. Toxic Deluge. Usually I run 1 board wipe, but I don't know. We'll see if I make another video or an update to this. This card might be coming out. Arcane Denial. Goes without saying. Swords to Plowshares. Path to Exile. Counterspell. Flusterstorm. And then we have two menaces right here. Like, these are another 2 criminals in the deck. Just purely because once Kenrith gets his engine set up and I'm drawing cards or I'm producing so much mana, even like a Seedborn Muse, I can consistently re-bring these back onto the battlefield with all of our different reanimation, like reanimation lines, or even reanimating with Kenrith. And again, this can shut down opponents mid-range and allow us to push for a win. So this is huge. These 2 cards are insane, and not to mention that Knights of Sandoria allows us to get Ragavan. So that's another huge one. Allows us to push for the creature that, obviously, as we talk about, is a crazy menace. And so yeah, that's just some of the things about my Kenrith deck that, I don't know, Just really like, well, I can't even say like, I love this deck. So consistent, so resilient, so many engines, so hard to shut down. And then that's part of the next challenge too, is I like Kenrith so much that I need to make a bracket 2, a true bracket 4, and also a CDH variant of him, because I mean, he's one of the best. Super good reanimator still. Don't sleep on him. And then I don't think there's anything else I can really show. I mean, no one really cares about Lance.